This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The front page is sponsored by All Family Pharmacy. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/WT and use code WT20 to save 20% off every medication through June 30th. A fragile Israel-Iran ceasefire has held. However, analysts and former U.S. officials say President Trump faces a much bigger, longer-term problem. If allowed to survive with even a small piece of its nuclear program intact, then Wolfgang reports Iran may now feel compelled to race toward a nuclear weapon as fast as possible. The roughly 10-day Israeli air campaign and the U.S. strike Saturday on 3 Iranian nuclear sites have, by all accounts, caused significant damage to Iran's nuclear program. Still, Iran possesses enriched uranium, and assessments from arms control organizations say multiple Iranian nuclear-related facilities may be viable. The U.S. bombing set back Iran's overall nuclear program by only a few months, according to multiple reports citing a preliminary classified intelligence analysis. Nuclear experts concede the work of containing Iran's atomic ambitions is by no means over. Middle East powers are recalibrating their responses as the Israel-Iran war reshapes the region. Jacob Wertschafer reports Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan are resisting military escalation, shielding fragile economies, and distancing themselves from what they see as a one-sided U.S. policy. Officials in those countries are also bracing for a wave of new pressures: refugee flows from Iran, disruption to shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, and renewed Kurdish insurgency in the east. Meanwhile, President Trump arrived at the NATO summit in the Netherlands fighting to maintain the ceasefire and tamp down questions about the extent of damage U.S. airstrikes caused to Iran's nuclear capabilities. Susan Ferricchio and Carrie Pickett report Trump reportedly told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to expect further U.S. military intervention. The president also sent a stern message to Israel, ordering it to call back its planes and adhere to the ceasefire it appeared to be violating by continuing to strike Iran. Israel and Iran were continuing to launch missiles and drone attacks at each other hours after Trump announced a, quote, complete and total ceasefire. The front page is sponsored by All Family Pharmacy. A new COVID variant is spreading, but this time skip the panic and long lines. All Family Pharmacy is giving you 20% off all medications through June 30th, including ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics, daily meds, and more than 200 options to keep you prepared. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/WT and use code WT20 today. President Trump's declaration of an energy emergency has helped clear hurdles and push the U.S. to the fastest rate of new oil and gas drilling permits in years. Stephen Dinan reports the Department of the Interior has approved just shy of 3,000 permits on federal and Indian lands. That works out to roughly 600 permits monthly, a pace that hasn't been reached in nearly 2 decades. During the transition from the Biden administration, the U.S. was already the global leader, producing more crude than any other country. Trump declared an energy emergency nonetheless. He said Americans were vulnerable to high energy prices and the U.S. was too dependent on foreign sources. And finally, a newly published study by Brigham Young University finds that boys between the ages of 6 and 12 run faster than girls in a 1,600-meter race. Valerie Richardson reports the study of nearly 4,000 children used data from 2007 to 2014 from the BYU Triple Crown Elementary School race, an annual event open to all students. More boys than girls participated in the run, but the authors concluded the difference in performance was not a result of lower female participation and suggest that innate physiological sex differences may be responsible. Previous research, including 2 studies released last year, showed that boys in elite track and field routinely outperformed girls in running and jumping events. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
Hi, I'm Chris Gethard, and I'm very excited to tell you about Beautiful Anonymous, a podcast where I talk to random people on the phone. I tweet out a phone number, thousands of people try to call. You talk to one of them, they stay anonymous. I can't hang up. That's all the rules. I never know what's going to happen. We get serious ones, I've talked with meth dealers on their way to prison. I've talked to people who survived mass shootings. Crazy funny ones. I talked to a guy with a goose laugh, somebody who dresses up as a pirate on the weekends. I never know what's going to happen. It's a great show. Subscribe today, Beautiful Anonymous.